Greetings, Aquarius. Kia ora. Welcome to your reading for what is the 1st of April today, the new moon in Aries. So we've laid out a shortened Celtic cross. So I guess the first thing one would have to say on the 1st of April is white rabbits, isn't it? But anyway, we come out here and looking at what is on the table. Whoops, today I'll get a bit more comfortable. We come out with the Queen of Cups crossed by the world, crossed by the universe. So we've got this glorious Queen, very emotionally self-sufficient. I mean, there's an impersonality I always feel about this Queen, because that enables her to really go with the tides, with the movement, with emotional flow, without really ever having a cup that runs dry. And the Thoth deck, there are many mirrors here. So I kind of see an Aquarius that's really looking at maybe the near future, or a future, or many potential futures. It's a really positive outlook, crossed by this beautiful universe. You know, it's like that thing where water is an element that will fill anything that can contain it. I mean, if there's a wee hole somewhere, it's all going to dribble out, isn't it? But it will fill anything that's designed for containment, is what I mean, if that makes sense. Speaking of that, the basis of this is the 6 of Swords, which is usually that figure in a boat ferrying people to a calmer port, to a more conducive place. Psychologically, there's been a shift here, I think, for some Aquarians out there, and a really good mental position, a really healthy position at the moment. Recent past, Prince of Wands, sort of a hot and cold, risk-taking adolescent, but nevertheless risk-taker. Whatever these, and we will clarify, but whatever these risks, experimental energy, quite highly charged, whatever they have been for you, they've really paid off, Aquarius, because we have the Ace of Discs, this beautiful ace, and in the Thoth deck, it is almost a 3-dimensional image, which I think is wonderful, because of course it is about material abundance, material wealth, and all the potential that can bring, all the potential, emotional, material wealth, all wrapped up in one. Now, if you're having a moment at the moment, just a period where for some reason there's a little bit of conflict within oneself. I'm not saying there's conflict in your world. There's a niggle. We get the 7, these came out together, the 7 of Swords, the card of assessment, and the 9 of Wands. It's like there's just one step that has to be taken. I mean, literally, like one step, like a doorstep. You step up. I don't know why I see that, but I do. It's a temporary what would you call it? Wobble. Moving forward here. Directive. Extra card at the end. 10 of discs. Wealth in all its material form around you in your world. But you see, this wealth is actually, it's not solely coinage. It's about, it's actually to do with other people here. It's to do with, maybe your family, maybe collection of people that you consider to be your family. It's about what their input, what they've imparted to you. Something about that with this card. But anyway, we'll clarify a little bit. Aquarius, let's see. I'm kind of interested in this Queen of Cups in the central point. Let's have a look. Queen of Cups, please. In the central point. Crossed by the world. It's like, wow, there's no limit to what this Queen can do. Just one card, please, for what she embodies. One or the other, what she embodies. Yeah. 6 of Cups. People returning from the past. Literal interpretation. 6 of Cups. Very harmonious, balanced card. As I said before, describing that Queen is that, when we've got a solid, when we are a solid vessel, actually, we're not leaking anything here. We're not leaking anything emotionally. This is about unconditional giving for the sheer love of it, like a child. We see the children sharing gifts. It's a really lovely free flow. It's one of the most harmonious cards in a deck. And it can be about memory. Well, we remember those things in ourselves that have been imparted by others. That's how we learn, isn't it? That's the continuum of life. That's what this universe, this world card's all about. Yes, it is. And we come back here to the 10. There's a heavy influence here on whether you've been thinking about these things recently. The 10 of discs. Again, we have the 10 of discs at the end of this reading also as an indicator. It is about, where we stand. It's about our place, where we belong. Those that gave us values, loyalties. Sometimes we move away from those particular values or loyalties, but it's incredibly solid, the 10 of discs. Wow, that's interesting. All right, Aquarius, let's have a look at the 6 of Swords, because this is the basis of all of this, which is you finding your, it's you finding your place. We get the 4 of discs, very strong, very solid. And 6 of Swords, moving to a calmer place. You're in a really good, solid position at this current time through your own efforts. Queen of Swords, clarity, discernment, no mucking around. And we're not being influenced by others here at all. We understand what others have given to us or imparted to us. Imparted. that word keeps floating around, impart. But ultimately, we embody that queen. Let's have a look at the Ace of Discs, please, because we've got the beginning and the ending of that suit here. I don't think time is necessarily, the timing in this layout, I don't think is necessarily timing as we understand it to be, if that makes sense. We're shimmying back and forward all at the same time. Anyway, so Ace of Discs. I did get 2 cards that came out for that. And so, yeah. I say there's been a long time getting to be able to fully receive this ace. We have the 5 of Cups, which is a card of disappointment, or understanding that, because it's a lesson. What do we have with the 10 of Swords? Probably one of the most brutal cards. It's a mind card. We torment ourselves with our own minds. What do we see? What do these two have in common? What they have in common is that, we understand melancholy, disappointment. We know that these two are behind us, but we're choosing to look at that, right? The spilt ones. So we know how important it is not to have a hole in our cup. You know what I mean? As I was saying, what do these 2 cards have in common? The 10 of Swords. The 10 of Swords is an aha moment. It's like, okay, so we've got, there's the 10th sword going in. And then we think, well, that's it, that's it. But what do we get? We get an aha moment. We come upon an understanding. That is the meaning of the 10 of Swords. That it is the end of a cycle, that we do have an understanding. We've completed something here. And because of that, we're able to walk through this gorgeous 3-dimensional flower show, disc show, and reap the bounty of this gift, because we've understood these two are like one just ball of lesson and understanding. So poor Aquarius, it's amazing. And with that came out also the Knight of Swords. Maybe that night, maybe this is maybe a little bit too literal, but maybe there's someone who moved through very quickly and provided you with that 10th sword to understand, to have that aha moment. This could have been someone that passed through kind of quickly to provide you with that. So it's pretty amazing. Now, let's clarify this. We see the 9 of Wands. We'll just have a look at the 9 of Wands for Aquarius, please. The 9 of Wands for Aquarius. Beautiful reading. It's actually, it's an amazing reading. 9 of Wands, we get the Knight. Impulsive, fiery, action-orientated, life and soul of the party. Impulsive. Very impulsive. Maybe we have a new understanding of our own impulsibility, if that's actually a word. Impulsivity is a word. We have a new understanding. Let's look at the here we do. 10 of Wands, a burden. A burden. Sometimes that drive with the Knight of Wands can be a burden because it sort of creates a lot of false starts because it's so fired up and reactionary and impulsive, as I keep saying, impulsive. It can create a lot of false starts that for you at this point in this reading, I should say, in this reading has been a burden for you, which you've understood and you've released it. This in turn allows you to see your own authority. This Two of Wands here is a figure standing on incredibly solid ground and sees their resources very clearly and how they're going to work with those resources moving forward. We see a crystal ball. It's as if you, Aquarius, have managed to overcome a couple of different things here. It's amazing. Let's get a Brian Froud, Pixie and Fairy card, even just one card for Aquarius today, please. Fairies of the future. Yeah, that's right. Speaking of the future, crystal balls. We're on solid ground. We're building it right now. And we're using what we've got, which is quite a lot. You know, it's really interesting as an air sign, Aquarius, that this reading in some vein is not exactly the same as the Gemini one, another air sign, but there's a similarity to it. The Gemini reading was about finding that solid ground, and that in itself was kind of the guts of the reading. This is about having, you know, really been here and on this thing and working with it and knowing exactly where you're going with it. So it's a wonderful reading, Aquarius. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time around. Ka kite, bye.